welcome back to another Overwater player-to-player interview. This week I'm talking to Sam Edgington. Even if you don't know Sam, you may well know his bass. We actually did this really custom sparkly blue bass for Sam quite recently. So I'm super keen to talk to him about that and where his inspiration for the design came from. We're going to be getting into Sam's early life and education, coming up with the National Youth Jazz Orchestra, being surrounded by all those fantastic musicians from a really early age. Sam works an awful lot in London's West End, so we're going to be talking about working on the shows and how you can handle that pressure of going into that environment for the very first time. We're going to be getting into his 3 Overwater basses. We're going to be talking about some career highlights, such as touring with the Wailers, performing at London Palladium and the Hammersmith Apollo. And finally, we'll do Sam's Mount Rushmore of bass. Who are the 4 most influential bass players that Sam was listening to when he was coming up and still listens to this day? This is a really great episode. Sam's an old friend of mine. He's got a great personality and has a lot of brilliant things to say. We're all going to get a lot out of this one. Enjoy. I'll see you on the other side. Start by talking about your kind of early life, education. I know you did a big spell with NYJO back in the day, so you would have come up with a lot of really great musicians there. Can you talk us through that? When did you first start getting into playing bass, and how did you take those first steps along this journey?
Yeah, sure. So I actually grew up playing trumpet. Grade 8 merit, don't you know?
And
yeah, well, quite a few bass players seem to have started on trumpet. Yeah. And then when I was about 14, realised that bass was the coolest thing ever, and started playing at school, just on the school bass. And actually on that, just a quick thing, I'm left-handed, but I would definitely recommend people start right-handed, because I'm so pleased that I did. It means that if you're at a jam session, or if you're using someone else's gear on a show or something, you know, you're always ready to go. So yeah, did that. And then I was just at a fairly standard comp school that was fine. Thought I was pretty good on the trumpet. And then I went to a school called Christ Hospital, which is in Horsham. And it's an amazing boarding school, but it's a charity boarding school, so your parents pay whatever they can afford, basically. But the standard of musicianship, man, it was amazing. And particularly, I was really lucky on my year. So James Madron, incredible jazz drummer, was in my class, and a load of other musos who are doing really well now. And so, yeah, that set me up really well, and was like, okay, I need to start practicing and I need to really get into this, because it was like, these guys are mind-blowing at 16, you know. So did that, and then went to Leeds, and that was a really, really good time, actually. I got a place at Leeds College of Music and the uni, but my parents pushed me to do the red brick thing, so I went to uni there. But it kind of worked out really well, because we ended up doing a load of stuff at both places. I met some really great musicians at Leeds College of Music, and then we formed a band, or a few bands. We had a reggae band, we had another band that was kind of a mix of both. And then the Leeds Uni was really good as well, because there were 2 theatre societies that I played for, and 2 of the MDs I met through that I still work with now. So yeah, that was a really, really good time. And then after that, I met Rhys Owen, who's a good friend of mine, who he and I set up 2 things. One of them is Articulate Music, which is something I can talk about. And the other one's They Say Jump, which is an originals band as well.
Nice. I know Rhys very well, obviously.
Yeah.
How did you end up falling into NYJO from there?
Yeah, so that again was Rhys. He was really pushing us, because like we met at Leeds, and then we were like, right, we're going to go back to London for me. And I mean, he's from Cardiff, but to London. And then we were like, okay, we've got no money, we've got no gigs, nothing's going on, we've got to make it happen. And it was a really exciting time. It was manic and really scary as well, because we were just playing with unbelievable musicians, and it was kind of like pushing ourselves really hard. And so it was him that said, let's go to NYJO. So we started turning up on a Saturday morning, and it's an intense environment there. Like it really is the best of the best, and it's kind of like, whoa, what are we doing here? And we just kept going, getting stuck in, and then in the end we started depping and doing the gigs. It was Loz Unglis's chair at the time. And then I started depping, doing some of the gigs on this trusty Overwater, actually, back in that time. And then a lot of those musicians we met, we still work with, and they do a lot of our gigs with Articulate Music and everything else. So it led to a lot. It's a really, really helpful time.
How does it work there? You can turn up on a Saturday morning and eventually you get a chance to maybe sit in and play through a chart? Or
Yeah. I mean, there's NYJO 1 and NYJO 2. So actually, I've forgotten. I did go to NYJO 2 as well when we were still at school, just a few times. Basically, the chair holder doesn't turn up because they know that some keen your bass players will. So usually there were like 3 or 4 of us turning up. In fact, I can't even remember rehearsal when Lawrence was there. Yes, you turn up and then you sort of take it in turns, and it's, but again, it's full on because there's these other amazing, better bass players than me. And it was like, whoa, okay, I've got to step up here. But as I say, it went all right and I managed to do some of the gigs. It was really cool. And one of them was super last minute. Well, the first one I did, I remember Bill Ashton called me on I think it was the Saturday for a Sunday gig, because a lot of the NYJO gigs are on Sundays. And sort of looking back, I can't believe I did it, because I wasn't as confident as I probably am now. Like, takes time to gain that, and somehow, 20 years ago, I was like, okay, let's just do it. Let's go for it. And it was cool and it went well.
You mentioned Rhys Owen and Articulate Music there.
Yeah.
Talk about that, because I think that everyone knows that music is not the easiest way to make a living. Everybody needs some version of a side hustle at some point, if not at all times in their career. So you've had a few interesting ones, I know. So if we can start with Articulate, and how did you go about building that? Because you guys are really busy now. Like, I work for you guys a lot. You quite often have multiple bands out at the weekends, and I presume it's a good business for you guys. So let's dig into that a little bit. Yeah.
So essentially, I was already running function bands. Ran a function band from school, from Leeds, and then, as I say, when we got back to London, it was like, right, we don't have any gigs, so let's make work for ourselves. I think we knew we had something kind of cool and a bit special that we were going to do with it, but also the timing of it was amazing, and also the fact that it's, here we are all these years later. I mean, we started, this is sort of pre-internet, like the internet was going, but I can remember us making the CDs, printing the labels and sending them off to the agencies, and those agencies we're still working with now, because as well as our one, we're a small one. We've got sort of like string groups and DJs and function bands, but we're also listed under other names with those bands on all the big agencies. Yeah. So it's kind of changed over the years. It's probably about 60% of our work is through them and about 40% is direct. And then when we started, we were picking people from NYJO, and then we were asking them for recommendations. We didn't know anyone. I mean, now there's a bit ridiculous, really. There's 1,000 people on the books. Wow. I've got 300 bass players on my phone, and a lot of them have done it, because it's been going so long now. So and so we just built it up really, really gently. And then I think the thing that we smashed is we did really good live promo videos. So we got a great gig early-ish, which was the Skyfall James Bond film, doing the party for that. And we didn't have the money, but Rhys and I pushed ourselves and like, look, we're going to just invest in this. So we got decent camera crew, really good sound, went for it. And then that kicked things off from there. And now we've always done that. We've probably done 20 or 30 promo videos over the years with the different bands. And that makes it happen. So that's sort of how we've kind of gone about it. But I mean, that side hustle thing, teaching is the one. We've also done a lot of that. I don't teach at the moment, but I did used to teach in school, and I did a bit more in lockdown and stuff again. But the function thing has been great. And also it's meant that other bass players have repaid me, with the work, and that's led to lots of other stuff as well. And I try and spread it out with you and all the other guys, so everyone gets some of the work. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because you're a very busy guy in terms of playing and gigging, but I think everybody needs to be conscious that there's a certain seasonal element to gigs anyway, and you need to be conscious that there's other things you can do with your time. You don't have to only be trying to do gigs all the time. Yeah, and you guys have made a real success out of that through Articulate, because you, as well as all the musicians you've met through it, there's a few people who are on the books now who you're paying to help run that. So you can go out, do your gigs, do your shows, and that business is still ticking along at the same time. Yeah, exactly. I think that the sort of hardest bit was I'm 38 now, so in our late 20s, we were still doing everything. We were doing all the admin. Rhys and I were doing sound as well. We had 2 PA rigs. We were considering buying a van and really investing in it. And then we were like, you know what? We're musicians. That's what we want to do. And Articulate Music's great. And I'm so glad that we set it up. But we had to sort of step back from it a bit. And so, the last 10 years, we've had people working for us, mainly doing the admin. And then Rhys and I take it in turns, sort of managing what's going on or putting out fires when things go wrong. But essentially it kind of runs itself. And then also it means that, I guess the other thing is I've always taken other gigs instead of my own, even if it's less money. And it means that I'm meeting other people, I'm doing other stuff. And one, I didn't want to get bored of just doing those gigs, but also it means that other people are getting the work and they're giving me more work, and it all just snowballs and carries on like that. It's great.
I think that's a really important point, because I know from my early 20s of running function bands, the thing that I didn't enjoy about it was stopping me working for other people. So if you can find a way to do that but still be able to take opportunities when they come in, I think that's a really happy balance with those things, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I can pick and choose the good ones. Like, we've done 10 events for Liverpool Football Club. We've done a number of amazing ones around the world, like 5 in Singapore, and a lot for Saracens rugby and stuff like that. And so I can go and do those, and then pop out and do other stuff as well, which is lush.
Yeah, send me to Norfolk.
Exactly. Cheers, Dan. Thanks for that.
I enjoyed it, man. It was fun. I live in the Lake District now, mate. Everywhere's far. It doesn't make any difference. Let's get into the West End. It's a uniquely pressurized environment. I don't think there's many situations in music where you feel quite so under the microscope as when you're going into a show for the first time. You said before you've done 40 odd shows now, and you're not even 40 yourself yet. So you've got a huge amount of experience with that. How can you prepare? What can people do to, I guess, mitigate the pressure so you can still perform and execute that show when you go in and the nerves and the environment doesn't get on top of you?
Yeah, it's all prep. I mean, it kind of an experience as well, having done it so much. Basically, I just go so overboard. It's silly. I do it so much that really nothing can go wrong once you go in, because you've already played it so many times, But that pressure, you're right, it is a lot. And it's a bit sad that a lot of my focus kind of comes from fear. I don't want to be NA'd, which means that you're not going to be invited back. And sometimes I think about this, I'm like, It's great. I love playing music and I love practicing it. It's fun. But really it's based around, I'm so scared that someone's going to say, oh, he was shit and he's not coming back, But and that micro thing, like if I'm doing a show and then I go and do a function, I still care about the function and I still give it my all. But it's an amazing thing where you kind of like, it's not the end of the world if I go, like this. Whereas when you're on a show, really you're performing it to the band members and the MD. It doesn't really, there could be 2,000 people, 5,000 people. It doesn't make much of a difference, really. All you're thinking about, or all I'm thinking about is nailing it for them and maybe the supervisor's in, or the fixer or someone like that. But yeah, in terms of actually dealing with it, I mean, I set up everything at home exactly as it's going to be there. And sometimes if I'm learning multiple shows, I can't be bothered to set up the pedal board properly. So I'll make little paper pedal boards, and then it'll be like, right. And also I've got a kid now as well. So it's kind of, the practice has to be super organized, and I've got it all listed out on the phone. I'm learning these 3 shows. This is the one that's soonest. These are the hardest bits. Right, I'm going to go through those. Okay, cool. And then it'll be like, right, I'm going to run it properly in context today. And then as we go through, note down any mistakes, any little bits. Okay, I'm going to go back over that. But it's the learning shows that's been really hard when it's all off book. My sight reading, I guess, is fairly strong. That's another thing to say. People always, when I have this chat, people always say, oh, your sight reading must be amazing. It's like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's most of the time you're going to get the pad in advance. Yeah. Now, I have gone in on things last minute and it's all right, but generally speaking, especially if it's a hard show, then, you get the dots and you get the MD cam, which is a video of the MD leading the show and then recording as well. And then just shed it, just go over it so much. I guess the hardest with the dots that I've learned is probably Aladdin and Shrek. Aladdin because it's all upright and a tiny bit of electric, whereas would still consider myself more of definitely started on electric, And then Shrek was hard because it's full on, you don't stop, and it's 50-50. So you're doing this kind of classical arco thing, and then suddenly you're doing a sexy slap bass bit straight after it, and also there's a moment on that where you changed from electric to upright and you had 6 beats to change. It's like, what? So yeah, and then the latest one that I've just learned is the Live Aid musical. It's called Just for One Day. Nice. And come and see it. It's amazing. It's so good. All the big tunes from that big day. But yeah, that was really full on because I went on during the previews. So normally when someone has the chair, they do 6 weeks or ish, and then they're allowed to get the Deps in. Because they'd already done it in Toronto, we came in early. So it meant that the show was changing and evolving. You know, there'd be like, I'd get a message tonight, these two have changed key. I was like, oh, right, okay. And then the next day, we're like, these 2 bars have been cut and 4 bars of G have been added here or something. It's like, all right, okay. So, yeah. But because I'd done my prep, it wasn't too bad. It was like, I know the show. He gave me 2 months. And a month before I wanted it ready. So I was like, okay, cool, it's done. And I knew that there'd be all these changes and all this messing around. And then I had the time to, iron out the detail. But he's also done some really cool stuff on that show. So he's set up the pedal board through Ableton and the MIDI, so you don't have to change any effects.
Cool.
Which is wicked because there's loads of effects. All the standard stuff, chorus, just various distortions and whatever. Yeah. And then also because you can't sit in on that show because you're on stage, they've made a practice booth downstairs. So the 2 nights before my show, I played along with it. So I'd kind of done it in context.
Oh, that's cool. I've not heard that before. That's a really interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, it's quite cool. A few shows have started doing that now. That makes a massive difference because you've even had another, it's the quad cortex, it's the pedal board. So that was running and just doing it downstairs, literally under the stage doing that. But, it's still that thing where 5 minutes before I sort of go for a little walk and I'm like, oh my God, I've been prepping for this for 2 months and I'm actually doing it today. Whoa. And you just have to have a little word with yourself. It's like, look, you know it, you know the show, you're ready. But then you sit down on the stage and it's like blackout. It's lights go up and you just hear 3, 4, da, da, da. We're doing it, man.
Yeah.
And I felt like my right leg was literally shaking like this, shaking it. And I just look at it and be like, stop shaking. You're ready. You know what you're doing. And then we got about 3 tunes in. I was like, I know this. I know it. I'm ready. This is cool.
How many songs are you talking about roughly there?
The show is 2 hours 15 and it's about 2 hours of solid music. So there's about 10-15 minutes of dialogue. So I've made my own set list. And originally I was going to be like, oh, okay, I've got the keys, but I know the keys because I've played it so much. So I just had the list of all the names of the songs and then a couple of bits that I would potentially mess up. So it's like, okay, in this one, don't forget this has been cut, or suddenly we go to the D minor here or something,
Yeah. But
actually on the first show, I wasn't even looking at it because the pace was so quick. And also because I knew it. I was just like, if there was I'm looking at, 30 seconds. Okay, look down. Yeah, da, 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 da. But if it wasn't even going in, I was just looking at words on a piece of paper. It's like, okay, cool. You know what you're doing. Let's just do this. I guess was the thing. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say about it that was interesting. But yeah, people should come and see it. It's really good. I'm really proud to be doing it.
Yeah, man, congrats on that. That's a really cool show. And shout out to Naz Adamson as well. I know Naz got you in on that.
Oh, and another thing to say about Naz, actually.
Yep.
The way he plays the show, obviously the specific recording I had, and I said this to him as well, he develops it so well. Because a lot of shows, like Jersey Boys is a good example, amazing show to play, probably the one I've played the most, it has to be exactly the same. And that's okay, but doing 8 shows a week is pretty full on of that. Whereas with this, there's loads of room to do your own thing with it. And the way Naz plays it is great. And it was really cool for me because I sat down with the pad and I was like, I started trying to learn it with that. And it just wasn't going in, It was just useless. So in the end, I just shut the pad and did it all by ear. And my ear, I don't think is that strong, but it worked really well, and it helped. I felt my ear getting better doing it, since doing that. Yeah, just the everything that he does on it was really cool, and that's kind of natural transcribing. Is that a thing where you're learning other people's stuff? Obviously, like proper transcription of our bass heroes, but there's been loads of times like that where I've kind of gone, okay, I'm going in on Kinky Boots. I'll check out the original one on Spotify of Phil Mulford doing some naughty sexy licks and I'll add those in, or I'll be like, oh, okay, in that bit, and that also keeps the show interesting as well. If you're sitting on a show doing it night after night, it's really great bringing in other stuff and your own things and be like, okay, cool, I've realized I've started to play that same lick here, right, I'm going to do something else with it, throw in some other stuff.
Yeah, I think that's important. Referencing how other people have done it is key. Like you say, some shows like you're saying with Jersey Boys, or I think Hamilton is quite famous for it, isn't it? Like you can only play what's in the pad. But if you have got a bit of room to stretch out in certain places, then it's great to hear what did someone like Mulford do, and to give you some ideas, either just straight take what Mulford did because it's going to be great, it's Phil Mulford, or by adding your own style to it and putting your own bits in there. It's a nice thing to be able to get beyond just, I've got to nail the pad.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, you touched a lot on there on being over-prepared for things. I know I've done exactly the same thing when I've depped for, I can remember it being an argument with a girlfriend at the time, actually, who kind of wanted to do something social in the week before I had a gig with somebody. And I was refusing to do anything because all of my spare time. But I have the same thing. I cannot, if I'm going in for a new artist gig or for a show, I can't really relax until I've got past that first show. If you give me 2 months, I'm going to practice for 2 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you ever overdo it when you're prepping? Is that part of the nerves? Can you put too much pressure on yourself by practicing something for 6 weeks, 8 weeks out?
I don't know. I mean, I did kind of make myself a little bit ill before Live Aid because I was also practicing and doing other stuff. But I'm just very systematic about it, and I've got it all mapped out, kind of go, right, when is that thing? What does the focus need to be? But yeah, I've done the same as you, where you just sort of shut down everything else. But because we're gigging and doing stuff, I couldn't shut down the other work things. And I was really fortunate. I was doing some amazing stuff in the lead up in that 2 months. Did this thing at the Palladium. We did 2 nights there, and that was a fair bit of prep and rehearsals. But I was hardcoring it. I was listening to Live Aid on the way to the rehearsals, rehearsing with them all day, listening to it on the way back. And then basically I just said to myself, right, I'm going to do 2 hours a day, 7 days a week for 2 months for the Live Aid show. And that was about 100 hours, or 110 probably in the end. But it was on top of everything else. I was dealing with some articulate music stuff, or I was practicing something else for another show and having a bit of a life as well. But yeah, just being really organised with the time and fitting it all in, I guess, is sort of how I go about it. And then the over prep stuff, like on shows, people take the piss out of me because I will turn up with 2 of everything. Generally speaking, if it's my show, then I'll use the paper pad. But if I'm depping, then I'll use 2 iPads. One that's got it, what I'm actually reading, and one that's a spare, but also I'm looking ahead on it. So if there's a minute and a half's break, I know that number 5 is quite difficult, and I've jumped forward to that, and I'm quickly going over it. Oh yeah, there's that couple of bars there. Cool, right, and then back to this, and then, but yeah, 2 of everything, 2 tuners, 2 sets of in-ears, whatever it is, just so nothing can go wrong in that side of stuff. And again, 2 basses, and that's why I bought this, which we'll talk about in a minute, I guess.
Let's get into the basses now. Martin lovingly refers to it as unicorn juice, the finish. I'll say unicorn juice. That's the PG version. Yeah, take us through this, because this is the new one, and this got a lot of love on our social media channels. It's one of the coolest finishes I've seen on a bass. It looks it's
the most beautiful, best bass in the world, man. You know it. This is the one. Yeah, I'm so happy, and I'm really, really pleased with how Overwater dealt with it, because it was a pain in the ass. And Martin, he had a few attempts with it, and it dragged on, and he was really cool about it. And I know that they're really proud of it, but it was not easy. But yeah, so basically what happened was, I guess my main bass has been a Fender Jazz, and I wanted Overwater to make my dream jazz, and then that would become and has become my spare, and this has become my main axe. So and then of my 2 basses, I've got a vintage or P bass, which is Sunburst, and I've got a black jazz bass, and they're great, but I wanted something super wacky and silly. I was doing Greece at the Dominion, and whilst I was there, I got these snazzy in-ears.
Got it.
And then I was like, what colour am I going to go for? What's something silly? And I was like, well, I love these. Maybe I could just match it. And so yeah, Cosmic Ears they had to do it a couple of times in the end, but they sent it to Overwater, and you guys somehow made this matching ridiculous finish. And I rushed you guys as well, because I wanted to use it. We were doing Shrek at Hammersmith Apollo, and I was really keen to use it there, mainly because I was excited, but also because my jazz was buzzing a lot. It's an active bass, and this is why a lot of us have gone down the Overwater route in pit work, inspired by Phil and Mulford and Ian King, because of the noiselessness. And it's been great. It turned up at the theatre, and I was kind of like, and it was a matinee day. I was like, I really want to use it straight away. Can I just do that? And I got it out, and man, as soon as I played it, I was like, this is perfect. It felt amazing. The neck's great. It's just lush. I love it. And yeah, really, really happy with it.
Super cool.
Do you want to know about some of the geekiness in it? I've printed it out. I mean, I know it's 34.5 because that's, again, what Ian recommended. This is Swamp Ash, I believe, and then a something maple neck, plain maple. Is that right? I've got those funny glowy dots as well. You know,
okay, that's interesting. So
you put the torch on it. Yeah.
How does that work in practice when you're in a pit? Is that a benefit?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, on the shows I'm depping at the moment, I don't use it because I use their gear, but it would be really helpful if I when I do another contract on my own. Then yeah, I'll use it, and it'll be really helpful because often pits are very dark or literally pitch black of certain moments in the shows. So yeah, I didn't quite go Mark King full out with the lights down the side, but yeah, I thought that would be fun anyway. So yeah, that's that one. Oh, and another detail, I've got my initials on the 12th fret. Yeah, baby.
Nice.
Which I'm loving. And then Overwater pickups in that. This is my fretless 5.
Okay, yeah.
I bought this from Ian King. I was doing what was going to be a well-paid recording, ended up getting cancelled. Yippee. And I got the pad through, all the dots, and I was on holiday, and I was looking, I was like, oh my God, there's loads of fretless 5 on it. Quite unusual. And just by chance, Ian had put on his Insta that he was selling his, and I was like, mate, I'm just going to buy it off you. Had it delivered to my neighbour, and it was all ready to go and all planned, and then it all fell through. But it didn't matter, because I won't buy another one now. That'll be me for life.
The gig didn't happen, but you did keep the bass.
Yeah, because I had a 4 that I used on the Bodyguard and things like that, which was fine. But I knew at some point I'd need the 5, and it's beautiful, and the way he set it up is great, and it's lush.
That is a hybrid 5. It's a little bit different to your contemporary J there. When Chris watches this, he can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure, just eyeballing it, that's a hybrid 5.
Okay.
That's kind of a cross between like the J series traditional kind of body shape and all of the boutique features you get on the Progress range. So that's a really cool. Like, they make great fretlesses as well. They're really, really cool basses. I was wearing one of those for a while, and I really loved it.
Yeah, I've got a fretless at the moment. Then
you know what? Actually, I sold my fretless. I think 12 months ago or so, because I hadn't used it in years, and I was just like, if I end up on a show where I need fretless, I'll just grab one. I'll just buy one. But yeah, it was just kind of sitting. I didn't love it anyway, so it was just kind of sitting around, and I wasn't playing it. So when you do play it, then you're like, well, it doesn't sound that great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I moved mine on, but if I need one, I'll get one again, because it comes up. But it's one of those specific things that I've only ever been asked to do on shows. So, and particularly the way things are for me, with kind of things being more in kind of pop world, I'm not really playing it at all. So if I get back into doing, a show that needs fretless, then I'll certainly get one. Yeah,
man, I'd love you to play it, because it's not getting a lot of use at the moment, which is a shame. Yeah. And then this is my old one, which was my main bass for about 10 years. Again, I think it's stunning.
Yeah, good. So again, I might be wrong. So Chris might have some work to do on this, but is that a perception? If it's that old? This is about 20 years old, right?
So I bought it from Gary Jackson in Leeds.
Oh, wow.
And I've had it 18 years. So it must be, he'd had it made for him.
Yeah.
And man, it's been really, really cool, really cool. We've used it loads. As I say, it's my main one for a long time. And still got a special place in my heart.
Yeah, man, that's a special bass. What a cool bass. Very good. And then you play upright as well. I know you play a bit of guitar as well. You do one of your roaming bands. You play acoustic guitar and you sing in that as well.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges? I think a big one for most of us guys like us that started off playing electric and then came to upright a little bit later in shows is always the arco thing, the classical thing. Have you had any training on that, or did you just kind of...
Yeah, a little bit. For years I would the first question would be when someone asked about something showy-ish or whatever it was, or there's some upright, is how much arco is there, or what's the arco, or send me the dots, And I got really frustrated with it, because it was kind of like, I want to just be able to say yes to stuff,
Yeah.
And so then COVID happened, and it was actually the best and worst thing for me. Worse in the sense of like, I got really down about it all, and I felt like music wasn't going to come back, and it was horrible. But it was an amazing time for me because I really went for it on the Arco. I've got a good friend, again from Leeds, Ed Barber, and he gave me some lessons in lockdown. I went round to his. We did a few, and it was really, really cool. And I just basically went right back to basics. I mean, I had done some Arco stuff over the years, bits and bobs, blagging it. And then I was like, right, I'm going to really sit down and go for this. It was my main lockdown project, and it was horrible and really hard at times. It was that super hot summer, and I was just sitting there playing long notes, you know. But after a few months, and I've filmed it all as well. I did a little video diary for myself and was quite meticulous with how I kind of went about it. And with Ed's help and loads of stuff online, like playing along with drones and going through some of the famous classic Arco books and stuff. And then it suddenly was like, you know what? It doesn't sound bad anymore. It's getting better. And actually, I'm enjoying it. And it was this going through that process. And I was like, it sounds pretty good. And now I'll try and do this thing. I'll do that. And I had a load of MT music theatre pads that I was playing through and various other things that I was doing. And I got to a point where I was like, this is more than passable now. And, you know, I'm not amazing, and I've got no aspirations to do like proper straight gigs, but for what I need to do, I feel like I could take on any theatre show now. And I've done some of the hard ones already, which is great, really good push for me. And yeah, it's been really helpful because it's opened up more doors, loads of stuff now. There's not a load of people that do the doubling thing, or well, it's tripling now really, because you've got to do all the synth-based stuff. Mm-hmm. That again is really coming in now. A number of shows have it. I did it on Why Am I So Single. Clueless has got a lot of synth. Live Aid's got a bit. That's really important to get down as well. So my grade 1 piano is coming in useful there.
The one finger.
Yeah. I'm getting better with it, with the right hand, smashing away on it. But it's important to be able to do a bit of everything. I think obviously we're mainly bass players, and so we want to be, and that's what we're focused on. And I guess electric is still my main thing. But essentially, with my practice, I do most of it on upright for whatever it is. One, because I'm worried that I'll lose my calluses.
Yeah.
And two, because everything's much harder. So then when you go to do it, if I'm doing an electric pad, all electric, then I'll practice it all on upright, unless there's some difficult bits, you know, and then I'll do it on the electric.
That's a clever approach, just to keep your chops in place, because it doesn't electric. You don't kind of fall off in the same way physically, do you? Yeah, exactly. And also to keep it interesting as well. Like if I'm like doing a really quite boring vamp section, then maybe I'll do it on Arco and I'll improvise a little thing through it. Mm-hmm. Just trying to always make the practice musical, like, and fun as well. If I'm doing some Arco stuff and I'm bored of doing the particular study, then I'll stick a drone on and do some improvising around it, you know, messing around with it. And that's just good for developing so many skills at the same time, I guess. Yeah. And also it means that I'm super used to playing loads of different basses, whoever's bass it is, and going from 4 to 5 to upright, and then to guitar even. It all feels so different, but once you've done it loads, it's fine. It's quite natural. How do you find going in and playing someone else's upright in a pit? Because they're all slightly different, aren't they, intonation-wise? Like.
Yeah. Still scary and not nice, really. I mean, my upright's pretty good. It's fine, but I've played some like incredible basses that people have got, and you're kind of like, wow, it responds in an amazing way, and this tone of it and all that stuff is great. But it's not my bass. There's nothing like playing your own, and having that confidence of knowing all of the little details of, like you say, with the intonation or anything like that, where it all is, they're all different. It's like, another thing to think about.
Do you get a chance to, I mean, you won't really, I wouldn't imagine, but do you get much of a chance to play someone else's bass before you go in?
When I was doing Waitress, Depping on that, the faff of the double bass bit was you had to wheel it on whilst playing. And then you stop, because the band's on stage, but at this particular moment the truck goes off and they've gone, and then there's this little like bench with the two leads and a lamppost, and you're standing by it on your own, nothing else on stage. And to get there you have to do this wheeling on thing. And so I went a lot, and I practiced it loads because it was a few tunes that were off book again, but also just that thing of like, I don't want to be the guy that can't get the bass to stop or knocks into the actors or something, you know. So yeah, I'll do that if I can. I'll try and get in on, especially if they're in town. It's harder with the tours. You just got to hope for the best kind of thing, I guess. Do your sit-in. When I'm doing a sit-in, I'll always say to them, can I come in a bit before, have a go on all your gear, get used to the setup, especially if there's a lot of pedals and lots of instrument changes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, interesting. I think that's a really important thing now. People need to be aware you're really covering the bass frequency as much as being a bass guitar player. So having upright, electric, fretless, synth, having all those kinds of things covered is really important, isn't it? Makes a big difference to just how employable you are, really. Like the amount of things you say
exactly.
yes to. I know the reason I got myself an upright in the end in my 20s was I was just saying no to too many gigs. And we all know that, you need to be able to say yes to everything.
Yeah, exactly.
For, a good long period of your life. So, yeah, it made sense. And especially like yourself, studying jazz at university, but then only playing electric, it made a lot of sense that I would get the other instrument and start putting some of that knowledge into the different technique. Yeah,
man. Yeah, exactly. Being able to do different stuff, and you still want to focus and decide what is the thing that you want to be your path. But yeah, I think you've got to be able to do quite a lot of different stuff to make enough money, and that's been the aim. I still kind of feel like I'm 21. It's like, right, I've got to make enough money to survive. Right, I need to do this, need to do that. But I want it to be in music because I love music. Okay, cool. What can I do? I could learn a bit of this. I could do a bit of that. Which actually leads to my other side hustle, which is over the years as well. I've also been an undertaker.
Wow.
I know, what a weird one, right? I've done 1,000 funerals, probably as many weddings. But yeah, my parents are undertakers. When my mum's retired, my dad still does it. And when I was 16, I started working for the same company as them.
Right.
And then I did it all through Leeds as well. And then I did it again, did another 100 in lockdown as well. Yeah, it's just a bit of a bizarre one.
I feel like you've told me this before, but we've never actually got into it. Like, there's not many people that have that as a side hustle. A lot of people are making coffees or pouring pints. Not a lot of people are undertakers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was cool. Like, I love cars as well, so driving these massive limousines and hearses and stuff was kind of a strange thing to be doing. And yeah, it was great at Leeds because I could do like 2 funerals in the morning and then go and do a rehearsal in the afternoon or something, whatever it was, the schedule, and had the time to do it. Yeah.
Have you ever combined the two? Have you ever played music at a funeral that you were also undertaker at?
I have done, yeah, I think I have. Yeah, and because my parents are singers as well, so they'll sing at funerals, and my dad he conducts it, they call it, so sort of leads the funeral and then have a bit of a sing as well. Yeah, it's important. It's not a dead end job.
So there you go. If you're struggling to get enough gigs, you can always
do some undertaking as well.
Funerals. All right, man. Let's talk about your career highlights. What are the things that you're like? Obviously, you've talked about some of the shows you've done, which have been amazing. What are the things you're really like, God, I can't believe I got to do that. What a great day.
I definitely, the stuff that we've did with They Say Jump, which is the originals band. I've actually now left the band. We've been doing it a long time. We did it about 14 years, maybe a bit longer. But the guys have got a great summer coming up. They're doing some really cool stuff. But yeah, we did some amazing things. We toured with the Wailers 3 times, which was just the biggest honour ever. To be in a reggae dub band supporting the reggae band of all time was just, and to meet Family Man, to chat to him was just incredible. Just amazing, yeah. What a guy, super friendly, and to see them. I mean, I've probably seen them play 20 times, and it's just beautiful. They're amazing. So yeah, that was cool. And then we also did main stage at Secret Garden Party, but that was a weird one. We were playing another stage that was fine, and then a band who were going on before Faithless pulled out, and so we had like 2% battery on our phone, just messing around at this festival, and we got this call, can you come and play main stage? We're like, yeah. And it was a weird one that weekend. It was sort of the best weekend ever because the sun was incredible. The weather was just beautiful, was just amazing. And yes, we played with our band And then we're also friends with Bastille, because I used to be in Bastille before they got really big, and they invited us to come up with them. So ironically, the biggest crowd I've played to was with them, because our set was fine and there was a really good crowd. They were massive at the time, and so we're getting up and I'm miming and doing claps and oohs to Pompeii. What is going on here? This is weird. So yeah, that was cool. Those gigs at the Palladium that I just mentioned, I've wanted to play there a long time, and that was a real highlight with this amazing theatre group called Star Kid. So they all came over from America, and then there's just 3 of us in the band, because they brought their MD as well, guitar, bass and drums. But yeah, they were like probably the loudest crowds I've ever heard. They've got some mega super fans, and it was exciting to be a part of that. It's really great.
Yeah, that venue's so historic.
And I did it on this.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, a little bit on the synth bass, and then everything else on that. And I just went straight in, bareback, if you will, because it sounds so bloody good. And yeah, because I've only had it a year, and I've been talking to various people, sound guys, whatever I'm doing, kind of say, well, be honest with me. What do you think of it? Do you like this? And everyone's been really chuffed. They think it really sits well in the mix and all that.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Do you have a preference on preamps and stuff when because a lot of us, and obviously in the, in theatre world, there's not really any amps in anything anymore. So do you have a preference on DIs when you get to choose? How do you like to run that? Yeah,
I mean, I've got this, which is cool. This is I've been using for about 10 years, maybe. So it's like, it's basically the standard Sans amp, the black and yellow one, but you can run 2 basses in it. And that's cool, but it's a little bit gagey. It's a little bit too rocky, kind of fine for the rockier stuff I do. But the one I'm loving at the moment is the Reddy, but they're big red box things.
Looks like a fire engine.
Yeah, but they sound so good. He's got one on Only Fools and Horses, and he's got one on Clueless. And when you go through them, it's like, woo! It's really chunky. It's really fat. I love them. Yeah, but they're pricey, man. I looked them up. They're like around $1,000.
All those things are now. It's the Ridge Farm gas cooker on a session towards the end of last year. And that was, I think, probably the best one I've ever heard. But I think it's upwards of 1,500 quid now. These things, but I think that's the bass player's thing now, man. You've got to spend. If you haven't dropped £1,000 on a DI box, you're not taking it seriously enough.
Yeah. I'm in the market. I'm thinking about it at the moment. What I'm going to do. But the amp thing, I mean, looking at my Mark bass amp now, I feel sorry for him. It did so much over the years, and now it's just sitting there. Really, it's my practice amp.
Crazy, isn't it? I used to get. I was also at Leeds. I was at the College of Music, and I used to get the bus from Hyde Park with my Trace Elliott combo. Get on the bus with my bass on my back and my amp, and I'd sit on my amp on the bus all the way down to college, and then we'd go and play in the wardrobe over the road from college. And it used to go with you everywhere.
Yeah.
You used to make so much effort to bring a bass amp somewhere, and now I kind of don't really very often at all. Although I have started doing with Boys Life this summer. Because the guys, they only wear one ear in, or sometimes they don't use any ears at all. They just have the wedges in front of them.
Yeah.
So I know there's not a lot of bass in their mix. So I've started I'm actually bringing it back now. I'm started taking my amp back out again. Not for myself, because I get plenty of bass out of these, but more for kind of the other people on stage, so everybody can have that presence on stage.
But I do love it. I miss it as well, like standing in front of a massive Ampeg or something and feeling that force behind you. And I've messed around with those boards that you can stand on, and and a few guys have got the butt kickers and all that stuff, and it's cool. It is cool. It makes a difference, but it's not like the good old days. There's no earplugs even. No ears, no earplugs. Stand in front of an rock it out. It's wicked. It's a bit of a shame it's not still a vibe, but I also don't miss carrying it around.
This is it, man. So can you tell me about a time where something went wrong? I know for me, I've had stuff on stage where gears exploded and bass is breaking up and the amp's gone up in smoke. How do you deal with those situations? What happened and how did you come out the other side?
I've got 2. One of them was I was doing a gig. I think it was my first one with a big Jewish functional band who you also play for, which is called Creation. And it was a big deal. This was a long, long time ago. I just got back to London and I was using this Overwater, and it's quite weighty. And the reason I mention that is I turned up at the gig and I'd forgotten the strap. I was like, oh my God. So I'm standing on this stage with sound check. It's all super high end, and there's a massive band doing 2 Jewish sets, 2 jazz sets, 2 function sets, lights and all stuff going on. And it's like, oh no, how have I done this? Really embarrassing. The band leader was really pissed off. It's like, and so the sound guys made me a strap out of a bit of old crap. But it meant that for the whole gig, I had to sort of play it like this. Like, do not move a muscle, because I do not want this thing to come flying down in some special moment. So that was bad. The other one, I'm a bit pained to say, I don't like admitting this, but I'm going to go for it. I am never late, and that's a big part of my thing. I'm always really careful with that. But one time when we were in Japan with the bodyguard, Alexandra Burke was our Whitney for it, and the sax player and I got the wrong train, and it's a nightmare because we don't speak the language, we can't read the signs, and we got the worst wrong train that went super north and was too long to get back. And so I had to call the MD, and this was about, I don't know, 2:05 for a 2:30 show, and I said, I'm so sorry, we're not going to make it. And he's like, what? I'm like, I can't believe I'm saying these words. And I said, yeah, man, look, this is where we are. We're going to get back and the train's going to get in at this time. And they held the show for us. And the other big thing is it's very disrespectful in Japan to be late, to start late. And they've had this massive thing. They'd even said to us all, you know, whatever happens, do not be late. And it was really embarrassing. It was really cringy. And as I ran into the pit, the guitar one plays bass as well. And he was sitting with my bass thinking he was going to get to play it. And I was like, no, excuse me, mate, get out of the way. I'm playing this. But yeah, you know, we got a slap wrist in the company office afterwards. We got through it. And we didn't go up too late. I think we were like 6-7 minutes. But yeah, it was bad and it felt horrendous.
If it makes you feel better, I once had to drive down the middle of 2 lanes of traffic because it was complete gridlock because I was going to be late for a curtain, and also arrived about 8 minutes late.
Nicely done.
But yeah, I broke so many driving laws that day, and I honestly felt sick in the car. Like, I was so stressed because
it's horrible, isn't it?
One of my golden rules is you turn up early for everything.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's that moment that you will have had in the car, and we had on the train, where it's like, I can't do anything with this far away. All you can do is worry about it and feel bad and look at the clock go tick 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 tick. It's like, no.
Yeah. Well, that was it. I was for a long time saying I can't do anything. Then I looked at the 2 lanes of cars doing that, and I went.
And you're like, I'm going for it. You joker. Love that you did that.
Can you imagine if I'd have got pulled over and tried to explain what was going on? I don't think they'd have understood. All right, mate. So finally, I want to do your Mount Rushmore of bass. Who are the top 4 guys or girls that you listen to a load, who you still listen to this day, who've inspired you, and you really put up there as the people?
Okay, I've thought about this in advance, and I'm going to cheat a bit.
Good.
So I'm going to give you my 4 that I've studied the most.
Okay.
And that's Marcus, Jameson, Jacko, and Flea when I was a teenager.
Cool.
But my favourites are 2 that really perform it. So that's Jamiro Artis, who's
nice.
Bruno Mars's bass player. And I saw them at the O a while ago, supported by Anderson .Paak, because it was before they did that collaboration thing.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. Just so good. The licks and naughtiness that he does. I love all those things, like the award shows they've done. Incredible. And then to see it live, the way that Bruno Mars has integrated them into the performance, next level. And then for the same reason, Divinity Rots and everything that she did with Beyonce. And I've seen some of her stuff as well. Yeah, I think she's amazing. She's up there. And then my other one that I was thinking of is Guy Pratt.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Legend.
I love him, yeah. Mainly, I'm a massive Pink Floyd fan, so I love all the stuff he's done with Dave Gilmour. But also, I like that he gets booked for stuff because he's cheeky and does more than he should do. So what's the order? So he did Madonna Like a Prayer. Is that right? Yeah. And because he was so naughty on that, and he did all that extra stuff with the octave thing and everything was on it, Michael Jackson heard it and loved him and got him in for Earth Song. Look that up, by the way, because it's much better the way he tells it. He tells an amazing story of recording it. Have you seen that? What happened in the studio?
Yeah.
And also, he's just such a cool guy. He's written a book. He's done a comedy tour as a comedy artist as well. The book's incredible. The stories are so good.
My Bass and Other Animals, is that it?
Yeah, I think it's that one.
I listened to the audiobook in the car, and it is. I highly recommend it.
Some cool tour stories, aren't there?
Tour stories.
Yeah, they're wicked. Yeah, really cool. And he also did some great stuff in lockdown. He broke down a lot of his stuff that he's recorded on. I think he's a really cool guy, and I love his playing as well. So man. He's up there.
So hang on, because this got confusing. So we've got Jacko, Marcus, Jameson, and Flea on Mount Rushmore, but then on stage,
I guess, yeah.
But then we have three. We have three others. So hang on, we need four, because we got Jamiro, Divinity, Guy Pratt. Who's going to be your fourth? Like, who else is up there? I'm spotting
Pino.
Okay, cool.
Oh, there's too many. I love them all. I love all these bass players, but it's got to be Pino. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't.
Four, and you've chosen 8. Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, Pino.
It makes sense though. Like, I think particularly those first 3, you're talking about bass players like yourself with a lot of personality, a lot of energy, people that perhaps bring something different to the room, different to the session, different to the tour.
Yeah. And although I've done a lot of pit stuff, like really, I love jumping around and being silly playing bass.
Yeah.
And I've done that tons with originals bands and with functions and whatever, but I've also been quite lucky that a lot of the show stuff has been on stage as well. I've done quite a few of those. So yeah, it's the one. You want to see the people, you want to get the reaction, feel the love in the room, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
You're a performer. Give this man a wireless. And,
yeah, exactly.
In the crowd, dancing on the tables.
You know it, baby. It's the one.
Mate, thank you so much for today, man. It's been really
thanks
great
for having
to catch
me.
up.
Yeah,
it's been
really
amazing to see you progressing year on year, and it's great to see you doing the things you're doing.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thanks for your time, Sam. I'll catch up with you soon, buddy.
Yeah, mate.